depending on which time source we're going by, we still got like 1 more minute, but you already do have the quorum, so. I can. I think that's in my job description as other duties as assigned. So. Oh, I would, but it's time now, so. Madam Chair, we've come to the appointed time and place. You have established a quorum, so you may call the meeting at your discretion.
Very good. I will call the TAC meeting to order on August 20th at 1:30. We do have a quorum, and let's start with introductions. We'll go in the room and then online. Victoria Chavez, El Paso County, to my right.
Gail Sturdivant, City of Colorado Springs.
Scott Skinner, Region 2, Transit Liaison.
Good morning, afternoon, everyone. Lindsay Hawkes, CDOT Region 2 Planning.
And to round it out, Jeff Guthrie, Region 2 Planning.
Scott Barnhart, El Paso County.
Ben Schmidt, City of Manatee Springs.
Lisa Gagnon, Transit Planner, PPACG.
Happy Millennium, everybody. John with PPACG.
Josh Squires with PPACG.
Danelle Miller with PPACG.
And for those of you online, John Hall with CDOT. We also have William Mass from PPACG. Stacy Salvatore, City of Manitou Springs. Let's see, go ahead. And Nancy McCaffrey from the Colorado Rail Board.
Matthew Halfant, MMT.
Hello, everybody. City of Fountain.
You have Elizabeth Kramer from FHWA.
Hello.
Darren?
Darren Horsemeyer, Community Planner, Schriever Space Force Base, and I'll have to drop out before 2 o'clock. Thanks.
Thanks, Darren. Lachelle?
Hi, Lachelle Davis, CDOT Region 2 Local Agency Manager.
Lan?
Well, Mountain Metro Transit.
And Stacy.
Good afternoon, Stacy Delosier, Town of Palmer Lake Public Works.
Anybody else online I missed? All right, very good. At this time, I'll take any changes to the agenda. Hearing none, I will take a motion to approve the agenda.
This is Gail Sturdivant. I move to approve the agenda as published.
Ben Schmidt, City of Manatee, second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, hearing none, that passes unanimously. Do we have any public comments today? Okay, very good. Approval of the minutes from July 16th. Any changes or questions on the minutes? Hearing none, I will take a motion.
This is Gail Sturdivant. I move to approve the minutes as published in our packets.
Thank you. And a second.
This is Matthew Halfant from MMT. I second the motion.
Okay, and all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are passed as published. Board of Director items.
Yes, for our Board of Directors meeting in August, we had a visit from Congressman Crank. There was also a public comment regarding the Front Range Passenger Rail, noting that there would be an announcement on August 28th regarding whether there'll be a ballot initiative in November. And the regional freight plan was released for public comment. And I believe those are all the transportation related items from the board. If you have any questions.
Okay, any questions for Danelle? Hearing none, we will move on to action items number 6, the UPWP Danelle again.
Yes, thank you. You have seen this a few times. We just ended our public comment period. We did not receive any comments on our Unified Planning Work Program, which is not unusual for this document. We did want to note that we did, as staff, make some amendments. Before, you may recall, we mentioned that we may need to make some amendments for the financials. As it turns out, we were awarded an additional $180,000 from the state, from CDOT. This is state planning and research funding that is going to go toward the specialized transportation plan and also the survey and kickoff for the long range transportation plan. So we did add those into the budget included in this Unified Planning Work Program. We also adjusted slightly just based on every year we kind of forecast what our rollover funding is going to be because a few more months passed, we were able to adjust that to hopefully be a little bit more accurate. In terms of the actual work tasks, nothing has changed. We did take out a little bit of the language where it said, you know, the long range plan kickoff and the specialized plan were based on or contingent upon funding because we did receive that funding, but no work has changed. At this point, we are looking for a recommendation to the board to adopt this Unified Planning Work Program amendment.
Thank you, Danelle. Do we have any questions or comments on the UPWP? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
This is Gail Sturdivant. I recommend to the that the Board of Directors adopt the Unified Planning Work Program Amendment 1.
Thank you. In a second.
Ben Schmidt, City Manager, second.
Thank you, Ben. And all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. See, easy for you to say. Public participation plan adoption, Danelle again. It's going to be the
Yes.
Danelle Miller show
Get to
today.
talk a lot today. Public participation plan, similarly, you've seen this a few times. It's been in various stages of draft for the past few months. We did have a 45-day public comment period on this. And it did come back with no comments from the public. We have not made any changes since you last saw it. Happy to answer any questions or go through the document if you'd like, but since there have been no changes, I'll just let you ask questions and hopefully recommend this to the board for adoption as well.
Okay, I think we probably can skip a presentation on it. We have seen it multiple months. Are there any questions or comments for Danelle? Okay, hearing none, I will take a motion to.
All right, Gail Sturdivant. I recommend the Board of Directors adopt the public participation plan as we were provided.
Thank you. And a second.
Scott Barnhart, I second.
Thank you, Scott. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes again. Fiscal year 27-31 Transportation Improvement Plan. Improvement Program Amendment. Josh.
Hi, good afternoon, Tech. So we have a couple things in this amendment. First part is of project 2019-091. It's an MMT project. They're just changing the scope from purchase up to 9 hybrid transit vehicles to purchase vehicles with MMT matching with local match. That's the first part of that amendment. And the second part of this amendment came from CDOT. It's taking some RPP funding from one project and moving it to the other. So it is project 2023-032. to add funding into US 24 Falcon and Judge Orr intersection improvements. They'd like to add 1.3 million and take 1.3 million out of project 2021-047, which I believe is just the US 24 general corridor improvements. We are looking for recommendation to the board to approve this First Amendment of the new tip.
CDOT want to say anything, any comments before? Mr. Hall?
Sounds like no.
While John is making his way up to the podium, can I ask a question? I believe this also reflects the rollover of monies from fiscal year 25 to 26 if they were state funds, correct? Sure.
That would be administrative modification number 1, which we're touching on later.
Thank you for that clarification, because I know I review a lot of that. That's what it was. Thank you. I appreciate that clarification.
Thanks for letting me speak real quick. Yes, the bottom line is this one's a really easy one, but I'm going to steal maybe just a touch more of your time too. If that's okay.
You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes, right? Look, the bottom line is this is 1.3 million that's been on the tip for my records show the very first 27, 28 amendment of this. Been very generically placed. We've been kind of holding off on formally putting it to the project, but this is an exciting project when out on the east side of town here at Judge Orr. And we're really excited to be working with El Paso County on it, who really championed the tip process on here. We're just now applying these mobility and safety funds to what is one of our most critical projects we want to advertise this fall. And well, actually spring is when we'll really probably advertise it, but get under construction next year. And it teams up very well with the US 24 East project. There it is, just putting it to a real project as opposed to just generic mobility and safety. And while I'm up here, I just would like to also mention, just thank PPACG. We also moved about $1,000 of RPP. We did something that very few local agencies want to do. We wanted to federalize a project. We're partnering up with Green Mountain Falls, doing some safety improvements right outside of there. And because there's some nexus with the Forest Service and all, it actually is beneficial to us to federalize the project in terms of clearing it. So thank you for taking care of that for us also over the past few weeks. And yeah, I'm glad to answer any questions if there are any.
I'll just say thank you, John, for your work on 24 East and for your team working with our team. So it's been a great partnership.
Yeah, not my work for sure, but Andy and the team. It's been a great partnership.
All right. Any questions for John? John?
Not so much a question, but a little bit of trivia. The first 4 numbers of the tip ID is the year. So your general corridor was put into the tip in 2021. So it's been sitting there aimless without any sort of direction or goal in life, kind of like me in college. And now you've given it purpose.
God, I want to come up with a smart aleck thing to add to that, but I'm gonna bite my tongue. One other thing that I'd just like to mention, I don't know if this is going to advance into something, but I know my planners are also looking to discuss with you all we have some funding set aside to make sure that issue on Highway 105 drainage issue was dealt with. It was dealt with, and the fix is holding up well, but the state is facing some significant burdens with state only resource funding. That's why it's nice to federalize, actually, in our case. But I think my planners will be working with you guys to see if some little tweak is necessary for something that has fallen off the radar as past year things, but we would like to use some of that funds to address other hydraulic, very similar issues in the Pikes Peak area. So I guess the real lesson there is you might see something next month. You might not, because I think it's also old funding, but we are doing what we can to make use of every bit of the RPP funding to help make sure our roads, problem areas get fixed. So, and we appreciate everybody's help.
Thank you, John. Any other questions or comments for CDOT? Hearing none, I will take a motion.
Sorry, can I ask a quick question about the Mountain Metro portion? So because we're changing the scope from up to 9 hybrid transit vehicles, I assume it's probably more because it's just generic language. Do you know how many they were looking at purchasing? Or has there been any discussion of that?
I do not know exactly that. I can punt that to Matthew, but I do know that with the 9 on there, it's kind of restricting with the federal funding in our tip, and that if they can't get 9, or if they'd like to get more than 9, that just that number there limits what they can do with that money.
Is it just changing purchase buses or purchase hybrid buses?
They would like the scope just to purchase vehicles. So changing it from hybrid to just purchase vehicles.
MMT, do you have any thoughts or comments?
Yes, we requested this this change to the tip just to give us more flexibility, because we're not 100% sure what we're going to do yet. It depends on the cost of the vehicles.
Okay, thank you, Matthew.
No, sorry, I was trying to find it in the report again. Have a follow-up question though. So on these, I want to make sure I'm looking at the correct tip item 2019-091, or is that that is the right? Okay. So I just want to make sure when we looked at the awards underneath at least the carbon reduction program, if there wasn't a requirement to use an alternate or to have alternate fuel. So that's not really the right word, but to have some kind of mix in a hybrid bus. And I don't know that the 5307 or the 5339C were as restricted, but I would suspect the CRP monies would be restricted.
That I don't know, and Elizabeth Kramer, if you have thoughts, feel free to jump in. Although I believe, and again, it's been literally 4 years since IIJA got dropped, and so I read something once, that doesn't mean I remember it. But transit, for the most part, is considered a carbon reduction strategy. It doesn't have to be a hybrid bus to be a hybrid strategy. Just a bus in itself usually is, but I don't know the specifics, so I cannot answer that question. And if Elizabeth, if you could jump in, put your cape on and save the day, that'd be awesome.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I can't save the day. I can recommend that you talk to, oh my gosh, our FTA contact, Tracy, to get clarity.
If I can jump in quickly, I pulled up the carbon reduction fact sheet from the DOT, and one of the eligible projects is, it says a public transportation project eligible under 23 USC 142. So I think any type of bus is okay, but we can certainly reach out to FTA to make sure.
That I'm willing to make a motion, but I'm going to put a stipulation on it for verification that there's no funding restrictions. How about that? So I'm going to do my best to do this. Oh, Josh, do you have something you want to suggest?
Land's hand is raised online.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Please, Lan.
Thank you, Josh. Hey, Gail, you were absolutely correct. The 5307 would be for diesel, and really the reason behind this change is the description of the tip was planned for just one round of purchase. But as you can see on the screen, there are additional funding sources to purchase vehicles. So we thought we want to make sure the description is not inaccurately reflecting what's included in the tip. The CRPs will be for hybrid vehicles. 5339C is the loan grant that we received for hybrid vehicles, but 5307 will be for diesel buses.
Great. Thank you so much for that clarification, and that makes perfect sense. So I'm okay with the modification of the tip, knowing that we're going to be purchasing vehicles that are allowed with each of the respective funding sources in that tip item. And I want to make sure that that is specifically stated in the minutes. So if anyone comes and questions that, please. So given that case, I'm willing to make a motion to review and recommend approval of the fiscal year 27 to 31 Transportation Improvement Programs Amendment 1.
Thank you. Any other further questions? No, I'll take a motion then, or I'm sorry, a second.
Ben Schmidt, City Manatee Springs, second.
Thank you, Ben. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes.
And Lan, I would just stress that carbon reduction fund might be targeted in the new transportation bill to go away. So spend that money first and fast. Oh, and that goes for anybody else who's got carbon reduction.
Thank you, John. That's the plan.
Okay, back to Janelle, congestion management process update. Is this an action item?
It is an action item to just provide guidance. There's no
No motion.
adoption
Okay.
and no rush. But I did put a couple of slides together. So last month, if you want to go ahead and go to the first slide there, Jared, we talked a little bit about the classifications of corridors that will go into our congestion management process network. And as we kind of walked through things, we realized it would make a lot more sense if we as staff went and kind of updated those maps under the existing definitions to reflect what we know would fall under those definitions before bringing it back to you for action. So that's kind of what we went through this past month. Slide, please. As I mentioned, there's no required action today, but after reviewing the slides, the TAC can choose to go ahead and move forward with the existing definitions. Of course, we're always willing to add additional corridors identified in your individual plans as needed. You all can choose to actually adjust the definitions as a committee. Or we can also kind of table this and hold a separate workshop specifically for those adjustments. Next slide. So this is the first of our identified corridor types. And we do have, we have one in the room now, our GIS and modeling folks who can help kind of describe these maps and definitions more accurately as needed. But our strategic commercial and employment corridors, this is the map of the data that we have in-house. To be eligible for this map, a corridor either has to have a similar designation in one of your adopted jurisdictional plans, or it must meet those three following conditions, which are the ADT, the commercial area comprising at least 25% of the total area within a quarter mile, and also be included in the PPACG regional transportation demand model. So the map there on the left has those strategic commercial corridors that we've identified in yellow, and then those commercial parcels in red. So you can kind of see how those correlate. And again, we can, if someone has a plan that has a strategic corridor identified that is not on our map, you can just provide us that information. We can get that mapped and added to this. Next slide, please. The next corridor type is the freight corridors. And we just lost the screens. There we go. Okay. Momentary glitch. So Similarly, any corridor identified on one of your plans as a freight corridor will be mapped. Those that we know are included here, or any corridors that meet those conditions identified as a freight corridor in a federal or state adopted plan or map. We may also want to add a regional plan since we are now going through the process of adopting that regional freight plan. Connections to air or rail cargo facilities to include military, or then you would have to have all of the three bottom ones. And this is a confusing kind of definition. I think as we move forward, Todd Frisbee recommended we kind of better structure these definitions in the new CMP. So that's something that we will work on for that document. But essentially also if a corridor meets those last three bullets, which is the ADT included in the travel demand model, or a national highway system route identified as secondary freight corridors by the owning jurisdiction, those would also be included. On the map there on the right or on the left, the primary freight corridors are those red lines, and the secondary, I think there's only two of them on this map, are those orange. And I believe there's one more map, Jared, if you could scroll on. This is our multimodal corridors. So we have on here critical multimodal corridors identified in yellow, and then the multimodal hubs as well. Those are included as the airports and also the bus park and rides. Those definitions are also included here. Again, if you have something you'd like added to here and it's in one of your plans, just let us know. But if you do look at this and see, you know, maybe we need to change our definitions a little bit, we're happy to take that feedback. Or perhaps, you know, there are something that is a transit route or a bike lane that does not appear on this map. That just means we didn't have the data to map it accurately, and we would be more than happy to work with all of you to make that accurate. Would you all like me to walk a little bit through these definitions in more detail? Do you have any thoughts on how the committee would like to proceed?
Thank you, Janelle. I do think I'd like to have a little more time,
of course,
to put eyes onto this and to get my GIS people to help me put some eyes to it. I don't know if that means having a separate workshop or just providing comments afterwards. What does the committee think?
So I would agree with that, because I'm concerned just glancing like the multimodal corridor in particular that we're missing the bike infrastructure from there. So I feel like we do need maybe a targeted workshop with the right folks and technicians to help make sure that we're providing the right information to PPACG.
Anyone else with thoughts? Scott?
It looks like the maps overlap, but on the first map, I saw there's sections of, you know, you'd have all of Academy listed except for one little segment that's missing. And same thing on Woodman, it looks like. I'm just wondering if you've got most of the corridor that matches and there's one little segment that doesn't, would we want to include that anyway, just for some continuity?
Good thought.
And if I could add on to what Scott was saying too, I believe if you were to pull in particular Colorado Springs Connect CRS or Transportation Master Plan, those corridors are identified that are larger than even Worcester. They're not just the gaps that you mentioned, Scott. So I do think we need some work, and I do think the workshop format would be appropriate with the right staff or right leadership and the technicians to help us pull that information to make sure we're feeding it to you correctly.
Okay, Ben?
Yeah, is this GIS data that was used to make these maps, is that someplace public that we can grab it from so we can dive into it? This is a great overall view. I'm just looking at all the finite details and the bigger labs. It might be helpful before that workshop happens if we can just dive into detail and look at all those connections with the GIS text just to make sure we're not missing anything.
Okay. The data. Okay.
Yeah, that way
we
we can
work on
overlay
that
them with our own maps.
internally.
That would be really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's important that since we've been talking about those commercial corridors, there's a set definition which might be excluding things that are included in our master plans, that we need to maybe expand upon those definitions to capture those areas. In particular with Colorado Springs, and I would think for both Manitou and El Paso County as well, that if we have growth areas, we know that that's what they're intended to turn into. And when we did our transportation master plan, I think the county did the same thing, that we did a lot of analysis on our land use planning to know what those corridors would look like in the future.
So does that give you enough guidance for now, knowing that we all want to come back together?
Yes, absolutely. So I think my takeaways would be, I'll go ahead and first set out a poll to get a good date for a workshop. Make sure I work with you all to get the proper folks in the room, work with our GIS staff to get you that data in advance of that, and then we'll go from there.
That sounds like a perfect plan. Great. Thank you, Danelle. Right, moving on. Action item E, Federal Transit Administration 5310 review panel selection. Lisa.
Hi, everyone. I am looking for 2 volunteers to serve on the FTA Section 5310 panel. I'm looking one from the TAC and then one from CDOT, since CDOT is in the room. I'm just looking for volunteers to review the applications and then score them and rank them with the provided criteria. This funding is for improving mobility for older adults and individuals with disabilities where paratransit and fixed route don't reach. So extended hours, door service, and just a bigger service area. We will have approximately $754,000 to give out. So this panel will just go over the applicants and then rank them and then award the money. Last month, there was talks with Matthew Helfand from MMT to serve as a TAC, and then Scott Skinner from CDOT, if that is okay. I'm just looking for approval. And then this year, we're going through each committee for approval just to build a more equitable and more, just a transparent, I know it started with the T process, just so we don't just choose the panelists, so there's more insight. So again, just looking for approval for 2 volunteers, one from the TAC and one from CDOT.
All right, opening up for volunteers or voluntold.
Hi, Lisa, Scott Skinner. I'd be happy to be on your panel and everything, and just like last year. So. Yeah,
Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Anybody online raising hands that I'm missing?
Matthew has his mic on, so I'm not sure if he's saying anything. We just can't hear him.
No, yes, I would like to volunteer. So,
Thank you, Matthew. I also appreciate it. So just looking for a motion to get those 2 approvals.
At this scale steward event, I make a motion that we select Scott Skinner and Matthew Huffent as participants in the selection panel.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Ben Schmidt, City of Manitou Springs, second.
Thank you, Ben. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You are the voluntold. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. There will be cookies at the meeting. As a
Oh,
thank you.
sure. Now tell us. I think we're on item 7, information items. Fiscal year 27 to 31 Transportation Improvement Program updates and roll forwards. Josh.
Hello. So there's a couple items in this item. First, we have staff just closed out fiscal year 27 through 31 TIP administrative and modification number 1. This had a lot of things in it since we have not had an amendment kind of for a while, going from the old TIP to the new TIP. This included the fiscal year 26 roll forwards, amendments from DTR, some RPP amendments from CDOT, and a Manitou Springs change in project, a minor scope change. So that was sent out to all jurisdictions for review and sent off to CDOT last Friday to be included officially in our tip. The second part of this item is the updated project status sheet. Now that this modification is complete, we took some projects from the old tip, rolled into the new tip since they only had fiscal year 26 funding. And that funding rolled to fiscal year 27. It is now included in the new tip. So that sheet has been updated, and staff will distribute this probably early next week. I'm still working with CDOT to get some ID information on some of the projects to make it easier for engineers in our jurisdictions to look at this sheet. We asked that it be updated quarterly. This will help with the project status meetings. We can reduce those meetings to twice a year and give PPACG and CDOT kind of better tracking on some of these projects. And then the last item that I have for you guys is after working with MMT, I made some updates to the new amendment form for the tip, streamlined some of the functions on it, made it more clear because I was a little confused filling it out. So I figured some jurisdictions might be confused as well, and just made that process a little easier. You can find that new updated amendment form on our on PPACG's website under the Transportation Improvement Program. Also, all of our amendments will be listed on the PPACG's Transportation Improvement Program website as well for more transparency in that. They are included in the ETIP, but we'll post a hard copy on our website. And I guess I lied. There is one more item in this item here. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, just more amendments will come. If you have an amendment or have any tip questions, just feel free to send me an email or give me a call, and I'd be happy to work through it with you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Are there any questions? Hearing none, moving on to transit updates.
Hi, everyone. I just have two updates. It was briefly mentioned before, but the next board meeting for the Front Range Passenger Rail will be in person in Pueblo at the Transportation Technology Center. You can attend in person, but you had to register by the 10th, but you can attend online. And this is an important one because the board will decide if they're going to go to ballot for a tax initiative. So if you're interested, tune in online or attend in person. And then secondly, PPACG was approved for the TMO seed grant money from CDOT. So we're very beginning phases, but we would like to set up a TMO with this money. So we're going to conduct a study, and then at the end of the study, set up a TMO. We're going to be working with our partners, with Fountain and the City of Colorado Springs and MMT. So exciting news for multimodal. That's all I have.
Lisa, could you explain to the group what a TMO
Oh,
is?
yes, sorry. TMO is a transportation management organization. So this organization helps reduce single occupancy cars on the road. So it sets up initiatives like having more bike lockers so people can have easier access to bike to their destinations, or get businesses involved, which is a key component of it. Having businesses where they have more of a centralized carpool service, and just kind of get the community involved in organizing non-car centric transportation. And then Matthew, you have your hand raised.
Yes. Just wanted to share that we recently had our grand reopening of our customer service back in the downtown hub, and went really well. The mayor came, there was some fanfare, and we're happy to be serving our customers better now because it's more convenient for them to come to customer service at the downtown hub because it's more centrally located. And we've had several events at colleges recently. to promote transit, and we continue to work with those schools with our past programs.
Thank you, Matthew. Any other transit updates? No? Okay, CDOT saying they don't have anything. All right, moving on. IIJA and grants update, anything? I didn't see anything in the packet.
No, I didn't put together a memo because there really hasn't been any movement. There was actually one new grant that we saw that is bus safety, accessibility, and innovation, NOFO, which closes, let's see, I believe September 28th. But other than that, we're kind of in a holding pattern. And from what we have heard, there has not also been movement on the build to 50 either. So kind of waiting, but if anybody has more information than we do, certainly happy to hear it.
Anyone have anything more? I meet with our lobbyists and I don't have anything to share with you either. Okay. See, oh, now he's jumping in late. Okay, Scott.
So for transit, there is a service change coming down for Mustang for the north and south line. So they are in the public comment stage right now. They proposed their changes and everything. So if you go on there and you go to the DTR website, you'll be able to find where you can make comments and see their proposed changes. And make your make yourself known for that. And thank you for mentioning the Front Range Passenger Rail coming down. That's definitely a big thing happening for the region, and so we'll see how that plays out. Really, as a Colorado, I'm really excited about it. So we'll really see how it works out. So I think that's what I got. Thank you for the time.
Well, that will move us right into other CDOT updates.
Oh, Madam Chair, before we leave that,
Thank you.
if in fact you do comment on the Mustang service changes, it's not what's in the service change, it's what's not included in the service change. And again, the Mustang does not come far enough south, does not have enough service to our friends to the south in Pueblo. And so I think if you are participating in the process and sending a letter, it would be great if you could just add a sentence that says, oh, and by the way, Colorado doesn't stop at Longmont. It would be great to include more service to the south, including Colorado Springs and Pueblo. Because again, all of the money is being taken from all these different pots of money and going to a Front Range Passenger Rail, which is going to be Denver to, thank you, Longmont. And also, Mustang seems to be getting all of the money, and at the same time, you all know our MMOF got cut, their MMOF got doubled, and we're not seeing those Mustang services for us in Southern Colorado. So if you do comment, I think it would be appropriate and great if we all show support for Southern Colorado and mention that in our letters.
Thank you, John.
Please and thank you.
Any other comments or thoughts on transit? All right, other CDOT updates then.
Hello,
Hi,
this is,
Steve.
sorry.
No,
This is
go ahead
Lachelle
online.
Davis. This is Lachelle Davis. Just jumping in to remind everyone that ARPA funds and their deadline, and I know I sound like a broken record, but they do have a deadline coming up at the end of this year. We've got projects in this region that need those funds spent. Be prepared to see another memo from Jeff Sudemeyer coming out soon as a reminder of that funding deadline.
Lachelle, this is John. Can you again, don't do it now, and I don't want you to call out any particular jurisdiction or their projects, but is someone from CDOT actually calling the jurisdictions and saying, hey, because I think some jurisdictions might be on the list, but don't know they're on the list because they think they've already finished the project or going to be finished by the project. So if you guys actually picked up the phone and made face-to-face contact, so to speak, well, not on the phone, I guess, but voice-to-voice contact on those projects in question.
Yes, there shouldn't be any question, but understandably, if somebody doesn't know, then they're welcome to contact me. But and then the memo that comes out goes specifically to the jurisdictions, and it shows the project and the project amount that remains to be spent.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure that there's no, oh yeah, we obligated it, but you're not talking about obligation. You're actually talking about spent. So I just want to make sure that someone from CDOT and someone from the jurisdictions have had a conversation on what exactly all the definitions mean and what exactly has to happen by the deadline. Because I know that I've heard the jurisdiction at a meeting, and then I've talked to that jurisdiction and they're like, oh no, we're good. So there seems to be a misconnect somewhere, and I just want to make sure that you get that cleaned up before we hit December when it'll be too late.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can reach out to individuals, jurisdictions for sure.
Thank you, Lachelle. Anything more?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, in the room, Jeffrey.
I shake my head no, Madam Chair, and I've checked with Aaron Willis of headquarters and likewise, and John had provided everything that he wanted to talk about as well. And John Liasatos, I know that Lachelle's excellent project managers are in constant contact with these jurisdictions. And like she said, the headquarters program managers, Medora and Michael Snow, have sent those letters as well directly to said jurisdictions. But as always, we're very reachable. And to your point, yeah, this isn't obligated. This is funds being spent by that December deadline. So big difference there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Member entity announcements. Anyone with an announcement for the group?
Madam Chair, I have one. For Colorado Springs, I just want to share with you, we're going to have an open house for improvements along 31st Street or for two different projects. It's going to cover the bridge replacement at Water Street. That bridge project was partially funded by off-system bridge and grant monies from the state for construction. And then the second part of that is the 31st and Fontenara roundabout, which has a TAP and STP Metro monies in it. So both federally funded projects. We're doing a joint meeting on September 15th at Holmes Middle School between 5 and 7 p.m. If you'd like to learn more about the projects, we'd love to have you come and visit us. They will also talk about more of the construction sequencing. Our intent right now is to do more of the Water Street project first, because of the way they're in very close proximity there in that Pleasant Valley neighborhood. And we had to coordinate a very significant water shutdown to be able to do that repair work there at Water Street. And then they'll move down to 31st and Fontenara on that roundabout and that new bridge / roundabout, hopefully improve traffic operations there at that intersection.
So what you're saying is you had to turn off the water to have water go over water.
Yes. Thank you, John. You always have a very different way of looking at things than everybody else, and I greatly appreciate the levity. But anyway, you're welcome to come join if you'd like to learn more about the projects, and I'm sure that Manitou would be interested in coming and seeing that as well.
Yeah, these are just really exciting to actually see these projects get done. It was funny. I joke that even as a kid, understanding civil engineering, I was like, oh, there should be a roundabout here. So it's kind of cool to see all of that.
Maybe you could come to the PPRTA CAC and explain that to them.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Any other announcements? All right, hearing none, I think we will, items for future TAC meetings. I'm sure we're gonna have tip updates. We're gonna have stuff about the congestion management plan. We're gonna have workshops, and I'm sure there's other things. Anything you want to highlight coming up?
Next month, the freight plan will be coming in front of the committee for a recommendation to adopt.
Thank you, Josh. All right, and other than that, I say
Madam
we
Chair.
adjourn. Yes.
I have a quick question for Josh. I just wanted to see what the status was of our administrative tip update to the projects that we split that we want to split between the mobility hubs and the corridor project.
Josh, did you have that in the one we just discussed?
Yes, it should have been in administrative modification number 1.
I believe it was
Okay.
administrative, yeah.
Okay, I missed it then. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
And Madam Chair, one more thing for a future topic. I know we talked on congestion management to have that workshop very specific to those maps and those corridor identifications. As I recall, and I think PPACG staff may have this scheduled for later in the year, that we also want to have a separate workshop more on the scoring and have some examples on what the impacts would be based on proposed scoring, so we could see that.
Yes, we will get that and we will give plenty of time before that.
Okay, I mentioned that because to get on my schedule in November, now you have to schedule now.
Will do. We'll
Thank
get
you.
that poll out sooner than later.
Thank you, Gail. All right, now I think we can adjourn at 2:20. Thanks, everybody.